This week we're headed to the Grand Trunk Saloon in downtown Kitchener, where we talk cocktails, about the city, and fried chicken. I feel like I'm the least qualified person to be doing a food show.
We should put you up to some kind of challenge. We should make you start developing a menu, and you should be the final episode of this season's shoot.
I think downtown Kitchener has had a bad rap for a long time.
The chefs in Kitchener-Waterloo have a little bit of like a inferiority complex with a big city.
That's the chef in you, that's the human in you.
This was so good.
It's beautiful.
This is an example of a perfect food.
So after watching episode 1, I'm clearly not the most comfortable in a kitchen anymore. It's been about 10 years since I've been in a kitchen.
Yeah, it's barely obvious.
I think I was just always so busy, and now having time to actually relax and like watch the experience rather than be constantly making blooming onions at Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah. Is that all you ever cooked at the Outback?
I actually got my pilot's license when I was 16 years old. I wrote it like the first week I was 16, and I worked at Musanowski's to basically fund that. And then once Outback opened, I went over there and I worked, I was a busser, and then I worked dish, and then I eventually got on the line. But I only made it as far as salads.
Nice. So before we can't just brush past the fact that you have your pilot's license. You have your pilot's license?
Yeah, I do.
Does that mean we can call you Flyboy or Ace or
I guess so.
Ice? What are the other
Ice?
Top Gun names? Iceman? So you don't cook. Do you not cook at home?
No. So basically, like Lindsay and I both work from home.
Yeah.
And if we cook at home and we work at home, we never leave home. So food and drinks are always my excuse to leave the house.
So your cooking skills are
So my cooking skills are
below par.
subpar.
Yeah. That's interesting that we've got you co-hosting a food show. I guess my immense depth of knowledge and talent will make up for both of us. Is that the idea?
And then I can maybe fly an airplane around to get some B-roll footage.
Wouldn't that be great? We should put you up to some kind of challenge. We should have you put together a menu based on anything you've learned and picked up over the last little while, and maybe I'll help you so it's not a complete disaster, I think is
All
the
right.
term. But yeah, a technique, a trick, an idea, a flavor.
The ability to like even cut onions, I feel like is
into a non-blooming shape.
Yeah. So what are we up to today?
We are on our way to the Grand Trunk Saloon in downtown Kitchener. So another good friend of mine, Daryl House. This is his second restaurant. He's actually owns and operates Hogtails, and then opened the Grand Trunk probably 2 years ago. And they've done really well. They're like a local favorite. They make amazing cocktails, and that's what we're going to check out today is their flair for the bar. And Kitchener, right? Like, it's just awesome to see more and more places take root and succeed in downtown Kitchener. Like, it's for so long, it was such an intimidating place to think about opening a business downtown, especially one that required on sort of nighttime traffic, right? Yeah. So it's Kitchener's really come a long way, and I would attribute most of that success to the entrepreneurs that have dug their heels in and made it work.
So what are we drinking right now?
Mezcal.
How is mezcal different than tequila? I'm pretty new to this whole mezcal.
So all tequilas are mezcal, but not all mezcals are tequila. Method for producing it is different, where it's all hand harvested. It's all produced in very small batches. Far more hands-on by the ranches and the small distilleries.
And then being in Ontario, are there challenges to ordering?
Yeah, it's much more difficult than just going to the LCBO.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So at Taco Farm, our selections, we're pretty lazy about it. We pretty much just go to the LCBO and get what we can. Daryl here works his ass off to get weird and cool exotic things. But I always say tequila is like beer, and mezcal is like craft beer, where it's just more individual approach to how it's made, and you're going to see huge differences from brewery to brewery.
I find that the more that I get educated about different alcohols, like if I've been to Japan and I came back, like now I drink sake. Before that, and same with Mexico. Like until I did that touristy, crappy tequila tasting, I was never really interested in tequila. But once I had at least kind of one foot on the ladder, then I was able to actually explore more and understand. I feel like you kind of need that connection.
This was a little bit smokier.
Is it traditional to drink them out of clay pots? Or
Yeah,
is
it's called the copita. Try some of that.
So this is spicy salt.
Well, this is worm salt.
Worms and salt.
Yeah.
Nice. It's one of my favorite things.
I love it. I think it's the best.
You get worm. You really taste the worm.
The worm comes out.
So that's the traditional way, right?
Yeah.
You just munch on
Cucumber,
orange slices.
yeah.
And
How many people have you heard say, like, oh, I hate tequila?
we hear it all the time.
Yeah, I hear
God,
that.
it's horrible because it's like, oh, sorry you got drunk when you were 15 on
Salsa.
Jose. Jose
and Red
Cuervo.
Bulls
Yeah.
too.
If you think you don't like something, you just haven't had the right stuff.
What we find too, like when we do tequila schools at the restaurant, we find there are still some people that leave not liking tequilas, but they go, I had no idea about the tradition and the history and the artisan approach. Like they don't know anything about it and they're tickled about it. And I'm quite certain that later they try it again and again and then they like it.
Yeah, let's just have a drinking contest, see how much like bourbon we can chug.
I gotta call my wife for a ride home then. Ice. Is that just a regular ice cream, chef?
It's cold draft ice.
What's that mean?
If you notice, it's not cloudy at all. With these, you see there's no cloudiness because it cools from the bottom and forces the air up and out.
This isn't even melting.
Maybe you're
Am I a ghost?
yeah, maybe.
Let's do a coffee and cigarettes cocktail. Because the best part about this is I'm going to get Nick so drunk. Because for years I've been like, hey Nick, we should get together and get drunk. And Nick's like, oh, I have responsibilities. I own a bunch of restaurants and a restaurant group and I have a family. And I'm like, whatever, Nick, it doesn't matter. This is a restaurant business. You should make poor decisions like the rest of us. And then Nick obviously he's better and then he doesn't. But now that I'm on camera, nobody can stop me from doing anything. Nick's going to get drunk with me. This is tobacco bitters.
It smells like a humidor, like a cigar shop.
Stir it for 15 to 20 seconds.
So you're shaking it, you're not shaking it because you don't want it to break
Well,
down.
what happens when you shake, it's funny, when you shake a cocktail, what you're actually doing is like making mayonnaise. You're emulsifying air into that drink. And so it's going to give it a lighter, frothier taste, right? When you're stirring, you're not actually incorporating air into it. The smoky part of the coffee and cigarettes is a
Scotch?
Lagavulin.
That's smart.
So
It smells like grandpa. That's great. It's funny how much you smell the smoke and then like almost nothing on the palate.
So next up for you, we're going to do a nice mezcal cocktail. This is Saint Germain.
We sometimes feud about Waterloo and Kitchener, so.
Well, as long as Nick stays on his side of the fence, then then we're okay.
Where's the dividing line? Is it Union or is it Victoria?
It's shifting as Kitchener gets cooler. I want deeper and deeper in.
So downtown Kitchener.
Downtown Kitchener has had a bad rap for a long time. And I think that part of that is because of when you compare it, and again, no offense to anybody Uptown Waterloo.
There's going to be offense
Waterloo
taken, I'm sure.
is so boring.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like the vanilla.
It's gone so corporate. And again, your restaurants are the only ones that are, for the let's not name any names of companies, but when they start opening up, multiple locations, basically in the same block, you know what I mean? It's the same stuff. My whole thought is like when people said, well, oh, this would be great if it was uptown, or if it would be, I worked for Peter Martin for 10 years, right? And he always said the same thing. He's like, why would I want to pay 3 times the rent to be in competition with 3 times as many restaurants? 20 years ago, uptown was just as gross as downtown. Waterloo did a really good job of making it more, aesthetically pleasing, but now it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it doesn't help either that the entire time Kitchener was secretly just going, gritty is cool. Like, we're going to stay artistic and gritty and all of these things, and we're going to brag. Like, we're going to use that as our selling point. When we opened Taco Farm, we looked at putting it in downtown Kitchener, just a few blocks away. And
it's a good thing you didn't do that.
We didn't do it. And we wanted to, and all for the same reasons you've just mentioned. And I'm a Kitchener boy my whole life, so I'm kind of like, I'd like to have a business down here. It'd be nice. But we didn't, and we're really happy where we are. But a couple of years later, we went back and looked at that same location for a second one, and the rent had gone up $5 a square foot without there having been a tenant in that period. It sat vacant the entire time.
Yeah.
But they were literally referencing a Starbucks that was potentially opening on the corner and saying, rents are going up because there's a Starbucks coming to town.
Everybody talks about authenticity, and that's one of the main things, right? And I think that with a lot of restaurants, specifically because that's what I know, it's like if you have to hire a designer to make your restaurant have a certain feel, then you're already fucked, right? Like, what do you just paid somebody to give your place a vibe,
right?
Well, your food and your service and your drinks,
good luck maintaining it.
That should be that's what this business is about. Once you start having to pay somebody to decide what that feeling is going to be, then you're kind of dead in the water, right? Like, not necessarily in terms of financially, because all those places do really well, but more to do with the fact that it's like, where's your authenticity? What are you doing? Inevitably, it's going to be the independent businesses that form what the vibe of that city is.
Kitchener's got a weird and an amazing, support their own kind of mentality, and they would support a Yeti Cafe a million times over before they'd ever go to a Starbucks.
We have fun here, but I think part of the reason why we've been successful is because we don't take ourselves too seriously, right? Like, we have awesome, I have awesome employees. The staff here is phenomenal because they actually care about what they're passionate about booze, and they're passionate about food, and they're passionate about good service. But it's not good service, just being a kind human. And I think our staff here are just good people. But I think with restaurants and with a lot of things, it's like we're removing disposable income from people, right? Everybody can cook for themselves. Everybody can go to the LCBO and get a bottle of liquor and drink it or mix it or do whatever, right? But what we're doing is we're selling an experience, right? Or relax, or just the convenience of it. But it's like, we're not curing cancer, we're not saving people's lives here, we're not building rocket ships, right? So it's like, the first thing we tell people when they start working here, it's like, be respectful to the staff, be respectful to the guests, be respectful to the products. That's it, right? If you can do that, you're gonna have a long, illustrious career here.
Right.
All right, I think we wrap it up.
Yeah, you're out of cocktail.
I'm out of cocktail, so I can cheers the last little bit. Do you want to do a cheers? Can you cheers
Cheers, big guy.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for having us.
That was fun.
Thanks for adding to the community with this place. It's awesome. It looks pretty good.
It does.
I don't know if it's the best in the Tri-Cities, but it's, let's say, downtown Kitchener for sure. And that sauce is awesome.
What is this sauce?
It's cherry bomb sauce. It's just like it's a little bit spicy, but it's super sweet, super funky, a lot going on. That's really good. What do you got there? Some mezcal?
The bottle of mezcal. It's a reverse Santa.
Reverse Santa? Yeah.
How is it?
It's awesome. Really good. Yeah. It's really good.
Better than Taco Farm?
Is it better than Taco Farms? I don't know. Is it? It's so subjective.